The following episode may contain sensitive content. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello.
Movie watchers
Nice
and
to see
TV
y'all
watchers.
How we doing?
Good. Thanks for asking. I was about to ask the same thing. How are we feeling
Get out of
today?
my head.
Good?
I am doing really good. I wish I had a glass of wine, but I'll get some later.
Oh, that sounds delicious. How was your Wednesday, Trace?
It was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just busy. Usual.
I didn't have that great of a day, but it happens.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Well,
I'm
I know
sorry.
your day's going to be amazing now because
Everything is so much
With
better.
us.
you get to see my face.
Your beautiful faces, hear your beautiful voices.
No,
That's
I'm sorry you didn't
exactly
have a
how it
great
is.
day, but I hope it gets
That's
better.
okay. It happens. So.
Wait, I wanted to tell you about my day.
Oh, sorry.
I went to a normal place here in Miami, and I had a breakfast sandwich and a cappuccino,
Yum.
and that was $32.
Let's go, inflation.
You mean it was
And
only
I can't get
32?
over it. 32, and then we were there for a while, like 3 hours, and then I was like, ooh, maybe I want like a little fruity juice, and they had all types of juice.
$15.
13.
That's close.
Same shit with taxes and everything.
Oh, and then they had like the
Holy
little
shit.
thingy for the tip, and I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
It's like, thank you for giving us $13 for your coffee. Tip? 18, 20, or 22%.
I'm like, I want to go cry. That's what I want to do right now. That's
Right,
too much
that's-
money.
At those prices,
That's
they
why
need to
I
add a little
drink
my
something
coffee at
extra in
home.
there.
I
Thank
know, a little
goodness my
back
boyfriend
massage.
got me. Oh my
Manny
God.
Petty.
My boyfriend got me an espresso, and I brag about it, and I no longer buy coffee outside unless I'm actually outdoors.
Well, I don't buy coffee outside. I was out, and I was like, you know what? I'm feeling a little sleepy, so I'm gonna treat myself to
Yeah.
a little cappuccino. And I don't know why I did that.
And now you're in debt.
Exactly. Almost had to ask for a loan for that freaking lunch
Oh,
today.
you wanted to be an American.
Oh man, true,
Only in
true
America.
statement. No,
It's a
in
rite of
Miami, it's
passage.
unbearable right now with the prices. Jesus Christ,
Tell me about it.
horrible.
It hurts.
So I cannot wait to comment about these Oscar nominations. I don't know about you.
We should introduce ourselves before we go for that.
Right.
Nobody knows who we are.
Yeah, well, if
Wait,
you
I
haven't-
thought you guys knew
yeah,
who
exactly.
we were. I'm a celebrity by now. No, that sounds pretty cocky.
Probably. Episode 3, celebrity status.
Right. With no listeners or subscribers.
Hey, don't put that out in the universe.
Yeah.
Well, like Nikki says, this is the podcast with no name.
Ooh, yeah.
I am Giovanni.
I'm Tracey.
And I'm Nikki.
Thanks for listening to us, where we sit down, sip, and chat about our favorite movies and TV shows, and you get to hear us vent about it.
And let me tell you that I know some of them are not going to be our favorites, for sure. And
Right.
those are going to be really fun to talk about.
I can't wait to judge. And today we are going to judge Beef, the series Beef.
So
But before we get into that, I do want to talk about the Oscar nominations, which were, I think they were announced yesterday
yeah.
morning.
good. Yeah, a lot to unpack there.
A lot to fucking unpack.
Yeah, who wants to start?
I I'll start. Tracy, you want to
No,
start?
you have a lot to say, so I'm going to let you take the floor.
I have a lot
Yeah.
to say. You know what? I will say this. There's a lot of controversy going around, the Barbie movie and the nominations. We all knew that Barbie was going to get nominated Best Picture. People are so upset about Margot Robbie not getting the lead actress nomination. Honestly, I love Margot, but I don't care for that. But it's really disappointing when you find out that Ryan Gosling, got nominated and Margot didn't, and neither did Greta Gerwig.
Yeah.
Greta should have been
At the
nominated.
minimum.
Yep.
You know what? But I will say America Ferrera got nominated, and she is a Latina, so I'll take that as a win.
That's true.
A win is a
Yeah.
win. But come the fuck on.
Yeah.
I
You know what I mean?
I understand the. I just want to comment on what you just said. I understand maybe it's not her Oscar, worthy nomination for Margot. But if it wasn't for her, it wasn't for Ryan either.
Right.
I agree.
I'm not saying their last names like I know them. They're my best friends.
I called
it
Margot.
wasn't-
She's upset.
She's upset. She emailed me. She said, "This is bullshit." No, but it's really upsetting because it just feels like it's 2024. This should not
Right.
be a thing still, and this is a movie that basically what we're going through is what the movie is about. What we're talking
It's the whole
about.
point.
Right. Fuck the patriarchy.
I will, right. But I will say that this is the year that the most people of color have been nominated.
Ooh.
Which is a win.
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean, for lead actress, I think there's 2 and 2, or was it for supporting actress? I should have done my research. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I did research something because Ryan Gosling came out with a statement about the nominations, and he said there is no Ken without Barbie, and there is no Barbie movie without Greta and Margot, the two people most responsible for this history-making, globally celebrated film.
Right.
Yeah.
So at least he acknowledged
Fucked
it.
up.
He did acknowledge because it probably feels, it feels weird for him probably.
It's not his fault,
No.
but it does
Yeah.
feel weird. It's just like, fuck.
Has he won an Oscar already?
No,
for-
but he's been nominated.
He's been
been
nominated.
nominated.
Yeah,
Yes.
for La La Land, right?
And a couple of others.
Yeah, I feel like there's a couple in there too.
Blue Valentine, I think he got nominated
Oh,
for that one.
right. Oh my God, what a great movie.
And there was another movie, I think. But yeah, I mean, I will say a lot more people of color have been nominated, than ever before, which I'm happy about. But yeah, it's just crazy, the whole Barbie thing. But that's what I had to say. Those are my 2 cents,
Yeah.
That's it. I just needed to kind of vent and put that out.
Well, I think that's the biggest snub, but I think a lot of people are also saying that Leonardo DiCaprio not getting a nomination for his Killers of the Flower Moon. People are
I
surprised.
have not watched this movie.
It's
yet.
3
I haven't watched it
and a
either, so
half
I can't
hours
say.
long.
Oh my
Jesus.
God, that's a whole weekend. I had to watch it in 3 parts. Oh, but I'm also thinking, I go back and forth with Leonardo.
I do too. I do too.
I don't want to judge, but that's what we're here for right now.
Judge away.
Thank you. This is a safe space for me.
Right. Safe space. No one's listening. Go for it.
Perfect. There's a lot of times that people are saying, "Oh, he should have been nominated," and I'm like, no, because I know he can do better than that. I know this is not his best performance, and this is coming from a retired actor that has never done anything really significant. But I feel like his performance in
The Revenant.
Yeah.
that performance, hells to the yeah.
He deserved that.
He deserved that nomination. He full on. That was his best.
I agree.
But then the rest of the ones that I think he's been nominated for some of them, I don't think those were his Like I think the best we've seen is The Revenant.
I
from
agree.
him.
I agree.
So if he didn't get nominated, I have to see the movie to be like, oh yeah, that was a snub or not.
I agree. I haven't watched it because it's 3.5 hours long. The commitment.
Mentally prepare.
I have a fear of commitment,
commit.
so I don't.
She's a commitment phobe, y'all.
But it's 3 hours and a half. Like it's
Hey,
it's
that's not 3 hours of my time.
yeah, it's a long one.
It better be worth it. I'm sure it will. I'm sure it will. It's
mean,
about an important
it is,
topic.
yeah.
So, you know what? I'm interested, and I should watch it. I'll watch it before February,
Okay.
or before the Oscars.
Which
Also,
March.
before we get into beef, I don't know if you guys been watching, but True Detective, I started watching it 2 days ago. We're not gonna discuss it, if in case you want to like talk about it here on the podcast. But I watched episode 2 that just came out really yesterday, I think it was.
Yesterday. Yep.
And I'm hooked. That's what I'm gonna say.
I'm hooked. All I'm gonna say. I'm hooked, and we should comment about it.
Okay.
I'm waiting because it is only 2 episodes, so I like to binge.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
I'm gonna wait a
it's
little
like-
bit. But
Tracy's like, I like to binge, but God forbid there's a movie that is 3
I know.
hours.
It's a juxtaposition. But I will say, I'm here for Jodie Foster. I feel like she's having
Oh my God,
a
what
bit
a
of a comeback.
Fuck.
What a
What
comeback.
a good time for her.
I'm so happy for her.
Yes.
I fucking
I
love
had
her.
to watch that. She's nominated too,
For
right?
Naiad.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to. And that movie is available to stream right now, if I'm not mistaken.
On Netflix.
right?
Yeah, I have to watch that. Okay.
Awesome. All right.
That
Let's
was great
do-
housekeeping. Good job.
That was
everyone.
great housekeeping. No more Oscar talk. I don't want to hear it. All right, because I need to talk about beef. All right.
Okay.
Beef.
I want to, before we get into it, I just want to read the synopsis real quick. So, Beef is a Netflix series and is a road rage incident between 2 strangers, a failing contractor and an unfulfilled entrepreneur sparks a feud that brings out of them the darkest impulses. Sorry, my English is not bueno.
No, that was perfect. People whose first
Thank you,
language
Nikki.
is English and they don't know how to read at all. So you did
Yeah,
beautifully.
that's so true.
Sorry,
guys.
sorry,
My-
fellow
I
Americans.
feel so
Like-
special.
Like me, I could barely do it. Well, thank you for that fabulous introduction and
beautiful.
synopsis.
You're welcome.
So yes, it's also an Emmy winner. You forgot to mention
And
that.
Golden
and it is
Globes.
a record-breaking Emmy winner and Golden Globe Award winner.
And I think
Okay.
it
That's
what I have you
deserves
guys for.
every single accolade.
Oh,
Yes,
me
it did.
too. What
It
a
did.
great show.
Amazing.
What a great fucking show. I mean, let's jump into it.
Oh, great. Well, I just want to
Great.
say real quick, this was the second time I watched it because I watched it, I want to say when it came out, which was probably, I want to say
April.
6 months ago.
It was April.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ooh. Yeah. I watched it probably like May, June. And it was so refreshing to like rewatch it again. And this show has so much going on all the time, nonstop, that I feel like I had forgotten about so much. So rewatching it again and be like, oh my God, I forgot about this and I forgot about that. And the road rage, how crazy this like one incident made this whole series. You know, so should we go into it right away?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about that road rage.
Well, I just think that it's so funny because they're sitting in the parking lot, first of all. So they're not even out driving, which I find really
Yep.
funny. And Danny is about to pull out, and I think it's like he just has so much on his mind because we find out that he's buying all these hibachi grills later.
Trigger warning.
Yeah, later on. I won't say anything about that. But anyway, so he's just in his own head and not paying attention. And he pulls out a little too quickly and he almost runs into a white SUV. They lay on their horn. First of all, that to me is like totally unnecessary.
Well, it just shows that she already has like all this rage inside of her.
Yeah.
Because that's not like a beat like one time. She let that horn go for
It was like a minute.
Yeah.
It was like a full minute, just laying on her horn, and then she drives off, and then 30 seconds later, flips him off. Which then, I think most people would say, wow, what an asshole, and let it go.
Yes, 100%.
Right.
But
unfortunately,
is not the case.
Danny is having a bad day, and he doesn't let it go.
Day.
Yeah, so he doesn't let it
go. It was
go.
kind of like one of those bad place at a bad time because, you know, he was having an awful day, she was having an awful day, and they both process, I guess, these issues, I guess, the same way. You know, we learned that later on, that they just have anger issues, you know? And it was just kind of like a coincidence that at that time and that place, that happened. And this is where this feud had sparked. And it was just like the beginning of like a fairy tale of two people, of two angry people. It was just like...
And I just really liked from, the writer and the director that basically it starts from his point of view. And from the beginning, when he's trying to return the things, the grills that he bought and all that stuff, and they're giving him shit already about it. So this is already like riled him. Oh my God.
Riled him up, yeah.
Yeah. And
I got you.
In my head, like trying to get the word out. And in that moment, he already is. This is something that I noticed because I watched it 2 times. Is, when you give up in that moment because you're letting someone else win. Because he's like, okay, whatever. Because he was like, oh, this is the second time you're returning them. We have a policy of refund, like second time, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, whatever. I'm just going to keep them. And he's like, I'm letting you win. But then when he has this encounter with Amy, he's like, I can't let this win. I can't let them win again.
Right.
So, and we don't know that it's her. We don't know her story. We don't know what she's going through. Right. But it's just really fun to see just that build up from him to the moment that he's like, fuck this, I'm going to follow this person. And I think the whole time he's thinking it's a guy because that rage usually comes from toxic masculinity rather than women getting that upset.
Right.
Yeah.
And
he thinks it's a guy.
And I just find that like a huge theme in the show for me personally was just, sorry, Joe, but the fragility of the male ego.
Oh,
what are you apologizing for? I don't give a shit.
Sorry, all the peepees out there, but it's like you can't let things go, and it just builds up and builds on, and it takes it to a place that just is really not that women are innocent, but okay, I'm just gonna cut ahead like real quick.
Go to one part. Please. We don't got to go in order.
Hopefully. Spoiler alert if you haven't watched all of it. When the brother, Paul, when he and Amy have sex, and afterwards he basically asks her for a loan, like some money to get him started. And she's like, I'm not going to be your sugar mama, basically. Like, I worked really hard for my money.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to give you handouts.
And he calls her a bitch.
Right.
Because she denied him that.
Exactly. Yeah. Fragility of the male ego. Instead of just being mature and saying, you know what, you did work really hard. Like, you have a beautiful home, everything. You're right. I'll figure out something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
It's true what you're saying. I didn't even, I saw moments like that, but I didn't, like, now that you're saying that, and there are other moments that I'm like, oh my God, this is true.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
The fragility thing, because this shows with George too, Amy's husband. I got so upset many times at him. There was a moment, and Joe, you might agree with me on this. There's a moment where she, after the road rage, she comes home and she's just trying to vent to him. And he says to her, before you spiral, and that just pushed so many buttons on me, because I'm like, this lady just wants to vent. Let her fucking vent. Let her let it out. She just wants to say, this is what happened to me. I wanted to kill that guy.
Yeah.
Well, that's also really scary because he was chasing after her. She didn't know what he would have done.
Just like breathe and like go to your happy place, basically.
It's almost like he basically just told her, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear it. You know, your wife is coming home to her safe space. She's coming to her husband. She's coming to you to say, you know, we don't know what she was going to say to him, you know, but she needed that safe space, that moment, that support. And he just pretty much just shut her down. Like before she even got a word out, he said, deal with it yourself, shut it down, breathe, and let's move on. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, yes, I agree with you. I was livid when I saw that. Because I was like, he's a piece of shit.
The three of us, we're venters. We love to vent.
Right. I love complaining. Complaining feels good. I complain all the time. With that. It's so funny because, like, I complain to my boyfriend all the time, and I tell him, I was like, I fucking love complaining. It feels good. Complaining is good for the soul. It's good for the health. It's so
good. And I'm sorry, whoever says, like, oh, the energy. I'm like, this is not about energy. This is not about, sometimes you just need to let it out of your chest.
Let it out.
You know?
Let it out, and then
it's going to make
you're
going to feel lighter when you do that.
Right. Let it out, and then we move on. But we have to let it out. It's like it's like farting.
You can't keep it bottled up.
You know, I love doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
There's also the point when they're in the, like, chair exhibition, and they're having this discussion, which it's not the right environment, but, you can't time things perfectly, whatever.
Yeah.
And she basically tells him that, I think our sex life is vanilla.
Oh, my God.
He says, at least I don't fuck guns. Which, that's such a dick. See, that's what I'm saying. The fragility of the male ego. Instead of saying, okay, well, that comment hurts my feelings, because I find our sex life enjoyable, but let's talk about this. What can we do? Exactly. It's let me like hit below the belt. They love to do that.
Yeah. Let me make my dick shrink even more, which is pretty much what he did in that moment. Because I think if my partner had said to me, I know if my father had said to me, hey, look, I'm not sexually happy, something's not working, immediately I would have been like, oh, okay, well, what can we do? What are we doing wrong? What am I doing wrong?
Because then also that makes me feel like you don't feel safe enough in the relationship to tell me what you want. That that would hurt me on another level, not just like, I'm not satisfying you in bed, but also that you don't feel that you can trust me or come to me with what you desire.
Yeah. But since you bring up the gun, Tracey, that fucking scene, I was just like, what is she gonna do with this gun right now?
She gonna get it on?
She gonna stick that pistol up her for JJ.
Yeah, I think it's like the living on the edge that made her, I feel, I don't know if you noticed, but every time Amy, by the way, what a great cast.
Amazing.
Man, a fucking amazing cast. And everyone's so good.
They are very beautiful people,
Yeah.
Holy shit, they're fucking good. I want to fuck all of them.
I think she's pretty.
I lost my track of thought. It'll come back.
The gun.
Oh, no, the gun. You're sorry. The gun.
Shit. It's okay.
We
can circle back to it.
It happens.
Well, we can circle back to it, but like, you said that you think it's like
living on the
because
edge.
she wants to live on
Oh
the
yeah,
edge.
so I don't know if you
I mean,
noticed.
like, damn, her husband's sex.
Yeah, every
Go
time
ahead.
that she would be mad because you talked about this scene of the chair. Right after that, if I'm not mistaken, she gets so upset that what she does is go paint Danny's truck. You
Yeah.
know, so and she comes back and it's like, I'm so happy now that this is how I got it out of my system. Rather, you know, than like having a moment of discussion with her husband and figuring it out. She chooses to, you know,
She chooses violence.
pain. Yeah. And which I think this is called a dramedy, right? Because
I would call
I
it
had
that, I think.
there were moments that I laughed so hard because when she tells him like, I think sex with you is vanilla, I couldn't stop fucking laughing because the way she said the word vanilla, like it was like she enjoyed every syllable of that word. Like she was like, I needed to tell you this so bad.
Yeah.
I think it's just so well casted.
They really resort to violence because, or like to the worst thing because, you know, let's talk about when he marks territory at Amy's house. Danny, right? Like he walks in, he realizes at some point, oh, it's not a man, it was you, a woman. You were the one who honked at me, who took out the middle finger, who I was chasing, you know, the other day. And in that moment, I was thinking, what's going to happen? You know, is he going to like tell her? Is he going to admit that it was him? And I honestly thought, you know, that they probably, I don't know, this is like episode 1, and I don't know why I thought he would tell her, like, and then maybe they would hash it out. I don't know what I was thinking.
Oh, you're an
But
optimist.
no, he decides, you know what? I'm going to take it a step even further. You know, so it's like he goes into her bathroom and he pisses all over her fucking bathroom.
Yeah.
And it's like they're always like trying to one up each other. You know, and I like, you know, fast forwarding to the last episode, I was like, these two are perfect for each other because they're the same fucking people.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're the same people.
They have a lot of beef.
You know? A lot of beef, you know? Gosh, that sex must be amazing if and when it happens.
Do you think there'll be? I know
that
we're
anger.
rushing through it, and we have a lot to talk about. But do you think they're gonna do a season 2?
So I had read that the writer had said that he saw it as a limited series, but he's not opposed that there could.
I don't
think so either. I kind of think that they should just leave it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Perfect.
really, really
And you leave it up for interpretation because I think there's a few ways that it can go. So
Yeah, it's perfect. But sorry, I jumped ahead.
No, I did.
But
I
yeah,
was like, season 2.
you know, I think that they're perfect for each other. Because she, you know, the reason why I mentioned this is because you mentioned after that vanilla, your sex is vanilla scene, she goes to vandalize the truck, you know, so she's just like, what can I do now, you know, to make me feel better? I'm going to go and hunt Danny down because this is fun.
how did you know he was there?
Because of Paul. She was talking to Paul, remember?
She's catfishing Paul.
Oh, did he say that he what club he was at?
Something like that.
Yeah, he says, I'm with my brother.
right.
We're at this club. So
Right.
she's still catfishing Paul.
Which I feel bad for Paul
this
getting
time.
pulled into this.
Oh, Paul.
And when they're little,
I know,
and
poor
the
Paul.
way they were raised, my heart. There were such cute babies too.
They were.
I know. Everyone's good looking. Paul is fine as fuck.
I thought everybody was very good looking on the show.
Yeah.
I thought everybody was good looking. But yeah, so, you know, so where are we now? So she vandalizes his truck. She eventually, Paul finds out it's her because he wants to FaceTime or something. How does Paul find out that that she was catfishing?
Actually,
The brother.
Before we get there,
Danny.
Before we get there, let's talk about Isaac real quick. The cousin.
Oh,
Do you know
Isaac.
the name of that actor? I should do my research.
Well,
He
He was
was
amazing.
IMDb open, right?
amazing.
David Cho.
Yeah, because I hated him.
David Cho.
This guy
He
was
was
bad
fucking
news.
amazing.
I mean, he was he was funny, but he was bad news. The moment he stepped in, I was like, oh no! Everything he said was just bad, and the way he was basically taking the money from them.
Yeah. David Cho should have gotten nominated. Did he get? I don't
think
think
so.
he got nominated because he was fucking
He was
brilliant.
really,
Like
really
he
good.
stole the scene every time he was in it. I felt like he was moving 1,000 miles per hour. Like he was like taking control of the scene.
What?
You were gonna say something?
Yeah, I
Trey?
just think it's interesting because I didn't think that he was bad right off of the bat. You know, like they sit down and they're having something to eat, and then it's like right away Danny's asking him for money. And he's like, dude, I just got here. Like, we can't have something to eat first before you ask me for money. And he's like, okay, fine. It's cool. Like, how much do you need? And then he asks for $20,000, which I'm sorry, that's not a small amount. And the fact that he tells him, you know what, man, your family, you got it. And he does. He sends him that $20,000 like right away. So I was like, oh, okay, that's really nice to do that for your family member. And then Danny wants to put his new business under Isaac's name because Amy starts leaving bad Yelp reviews after Danny pees all over her bathroom floor, which first of all, that's such like that's such a female thing to do. That's pretty genius.
Yeah.
So just like creating all these catfish accounts and being like, he's terrible at his job, like he pissed all over my bathroom floor.
Do we remember why Isaac was in jail? Was it something about the hotel?
It wasn't. That's what I was gonna say. That with Isaac, I wasn't sure how to feel about him because he's the reason why they lost the motel.
The hotel.
Got it. Yeah,
the hotel motel.
Like
so,
it wasn't.
He's the reason why they're in that situation in the first place.
Well,
So it's just
I think
do we like
if
this
I'm
guy
not
or do we hate
mistaken,
this guy?
correct me if I'm wrong. So I think the whole thing with motel is he was selling illegal goods out of the motel. So my thing is like if Danny probably knew about it, he's not comfortable with it. Tell him like, dude, I love you, but you can't have this here. So I kind of feel like he could have, stood up. Let's get a storage facility, or like let's do like something else. Because then later on, he has all those boxes. Oh, what's in here? Oh, they're laptop batteries. He didn't look.
Yeah.
So it's like the same shit could have been happening. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still trying to help out, look out for his cousin, which I did appreciate, and I like that, even at the end, I think, when after he got out of jail, he was still trying to help him out.
Yes. Yeah.
I guess it also speaks to just like familial relationships can also be really difficult. Because, like, you have them as cousins.
100%.
Like, Danny and Paul, like, brother, like, their relationship. Which also, that made me so sad. Because it was like...
I know.
They were so close when they were little.
I know.
And I think... and we see, like, Danny and them growing up together. And Danny just wants to be so close to his brother. And when he threw out his college applications, though...
Oof, that's rough.
That's so selfish.
It's super selfish. And I feel I'm glad that later on they show us that because it shows a lot about his character.
Oh yeah.
And the kind of trauma they had when they were young, because I feel like he did that in two ways. He was like, I need him with me, and second, I also need to protect him. Because that's what he was used to do when they were little. Not saying, that he needs it right now.
Right.
Because I think it was really selfish of him. But it just shows a lot of, like, the way they were raised.
Absolutely. I agree with that. But then also it's like, well, because he threw those applications away and then Paul doesn't get into any of those places, he's thinking he's not good enough. And I think as an adult, things like that rejection, that failure, carry with you way more. So it's like he kind of fucked his brother over. And then later on, he's yelling at him, like, go get a job, quit doing crypto and playing video games. Well, you kind of set him up to be this way because you didn't allow him to have that opportunity to grow and to see what potential he had.
Yeah. Oh, we're going back to something that I wanted to talk to you about. That scene where he's calling, I want to say the real estate company, and he's eating those fucking Burger King sandwiches.
And he like almost vomits.
I was almost vomiting while I was talk about really good fucking acting and good monologue. The way he was eating them, I'm gonna throw up right now because he just kept stuffing his mouth before, and then at one point he tries to like swallow whatever it is with Coke or something, and he can't, and everything is like coming up, and then he makes himself swallow that back in.
And then the fries.
Because he's getting angrier and angrier and angrier. Oh my God.
He's self-sabotaging, you know, because that really, it's like, I feel like it was symbolic, you know, because yes, he's making himself sick, but that I feel like it reminds me of, you remember that scene when he goes to the church and he's like trying to get money from the church. He keeps calling the realtors, like, I have money, I am interested in this place. When we know he has no fucking money. Yeah. He's dirt broke, and he's still trying to cheat people out of money, still trying to, remember, he was like pretending to be like this tree cutter person, you know? And it's just like he keeps digging himself in a deeper hole. And I remember at one point, I was thinking to myself, like, damn, dude, when are you going to stop? Like, why do you keep going? Why do you keep self-sabotaging? You know, why do you keep up with the lies? You know, and he just kept going and going and going and going.
And I think that it's this expectation, I feel like, within the Asian culture. And you know, like, he wanted to make his parents proud. He wanted to buy them this house and bring them to America. You know, that was his only way to show them that he's a success. So it's like he would do anything to get that.
It says also a lot, because the thing is, he has such a beautiful, soft face. You kind of like feel bad, like the actor, you kind of feel bad for the character. Most of the time you're like, ay, pobrecito. The whole time you're like, ay, you know, he's trying so hard. But it's because he's such a beautiful actor. But it just shows a lot about his character, the way everything he does at the church, and how he takes this guy out and he becomes the worship leader, and the prior worshiper's wife is missing him, and it the way that he walked in, basically in a month, he had, you know, pushed everyone out and made himself the leader at a church when the guy is not even, I don't know, I want to say a Christian. Churches, they don't go to church, and he came out of nowhere, and now he's the worshiper of the church, you know.
Well, again, I think that speaks to him being selfish, that he was like wanting to get with Veronica.
Shows so much of his character,
right? Yeah, exactly. And
his selfishness.
It's a very competitive culture, I guess. You know, you brought up the Asian. You know, I mean, I'm not Asian, so I obviously don't know. But you know, I think it's pretty out there and well known that, you know, in Asian culture, you have to, you know, make your parents proud. You have to work hard. It's all about the image.
It's like, so there's a lot of whatever you can
there's a lot
to
of
make
pressure.
Proud, you know.
You know, so I think he was feeling that pressure because he constantly, you know, would talk to his parents, and his parents will always want an update. How are you doing? How's the money coming along? You know, how's your brother doing? And then,
my God, and the dryness too. The dryness, like coming from Latin family.
They're so dry, and I just felt so heartbroken for him because he finally got money. He bought that beautiful, lavish house, which, you know, so he flies his parents to the States. He's about to show his parents, look at what I did. I finally have enough money to buy a house. Look at the house that we built, because they built the house from scratch. And they get there and the house is burnt down in flames. And his father is like so disappointed.
And he's like, oh, we just have to go back rather than...
Oh, yeah, we just want to go home. Because
he says, I have to go work.
We'll just go home.
Yeah.
I have to go work, And I just felt so heartbroken for Danny, because I was like, he was so
well,
close,
until you find out that he's the one
that it was his
fault. He said that he put in the faulty wiring.
Fault. Right.
So it's like, so if you knew that this was going to happen, you're actually lucky that your parents weren't living in that house and burned down with it. Like, what was he? I don't understand his reasoning for that.
And with stolen money.
Right.
Because that was also, like, that was not his money. That was money from the church.
Right. Like, did he... Because the thing was, like, the inspection officer was saying, like, if you have insurance and it's not arson, you'll get the money, which is, like, great. Isn't that what he would want, right? Mm-hmm. But then he kept being like, are you sure it's not arson? Are you sure it's not arson?
Because they thrive on that rage.
And then did he already have it in his mind that he was going to do it and then, like, pin this on Amy? Do you want her in jail? Like, I don't get it.
That's what I think he, he wanted it, because the insurance agent was like, oh, no, the inspector was like, you should be happy,
right?
That it wasn't arson, because if it
you
were
don't get
arson,
a payout.
Your insurance is, you don't get a payout. Insurance is not gonna pay you anything.
Yeah.
But it's like he wanted to believe that Amy was behind the fire, and he needed that justification. He it's almost like he also didn't want to believe that it was his fault.
Denial.
Like he self-sabotaged himself.
Also,
self-sabotaged.
I feel like he also, because I think both of their personalities, Amy and Danny, were both addicted to the bitterness and being angry and having rage. So I think he needed to blame it on her for him to keep doing what he was doing, for him to feel alive.
Okay.
Through it.
Yeah.
Because it just, from the beginning, you're seeing that these two people are thriving through their rage the whole time. They're like happier after they create pain in someone else, or a complication.
It is a sickness, because sometimes I was just thinking, why don't you can you just let it go?
Yes.
I mean, I guess that just goes to show, like, how unhappy they were with their lives. Like, if you can make, you make that much effort to make someone else miserable, you can't be a happy person.
No. And let's talk about real quick the relationship of Amy and her mother-in-law.
Oh, so interesting.
Oh, Fumi.
Oh my God.
Very, very
Nothing
interesting.
was good enough for her, per usual.
Not good enough for her, but Fumi's going through has her own plan. Fumi's dead broke too.
And she
needs money.
And it's so funny how she was, without even asking, she was already counting on it. She was like, oh, like, I'll speak to her, don't worry. And it's like, dude, you need this money ASAP.
She, like, broke into their house.
And then, like, I go back into the chair incident, and how the ego of George was like, no, we're not selling that. We don't sell that. Blah, blah, blah. And he had no idea of how in debt they were, which also shows you how they raised him. No complications. We always have money. Everything is going to be okay. And it's like, well, you're actually drowning in debt, and this guy is living his happy life like nothing is happening.
Right.
Wow. He was so
sheltered. Oh, they babied him.
Baby. He was such a big baby. That's why he was such a mama's boy.
Well,
like that scene when she was like, who's there with you? He's like, oh, Mom and I are having this meal.
That was fucking weird. That was really,
so
and then she's like,
fucking
I used your
weird.
shower or something. I'm wearing your bathrobe. I don't know, something fucking weird. And I was like, what?
Oh God.
Yeah, no.
Since we're bringing up supporting characters, fucking Maria Bello as Jordan was phenomenal.
Great.
I think she got
I believe
nominated
so.
too, but
She
was
did?
because I hated her.
Oh my
she
God,
got nominated.
What's
I
her character's
hated
name?
her character.
Or Jordana.
Jordana. Yeah.
Jordana. Played her so fucking well because I hated the bitch. Like,
Yeah.
I hated
Well,
the
just
bitch.
like
And then
little comments she would make about like
So
China and like
So
something
ignorant.
about like Japan, and it's like meanwhile, I
ignorant.
mean, she has a
She's not even. She wasn't even
I believe
Chinese,
it was
right?
like her mom was Vietnamese and her father was Chinese, but still just sort of like saying these comments and like lumping Asian communities all together and then just expecting that it's like, oh, well, if you're Chinese, like you've been to China, like you should know what the beaches of whatever are like.
And knowing like her
she's like,
character
"Bitch, I'm American."
knows that she has so much power over her because of the deal, so she also knows she can get away with saying whatever the fuck she wants the whole time.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was really interesting to see that dynamic. And then what's this actress's name? Ashley
Park.
Yes.
Naomi.
What? Oh my God, Naomi.
When they were like,
What?
when they became a
She's
couple,
such a good... Bro, that's hilarious.
I was like,
but let me...
It was so
so
fucking weird.
I'm
I
sorry.
just want to say Ashley Park is... No, it's so weird. But what a great up-and-coming actress.
Yo, I was just about to say she's killing it.
And listen,
She
it's
is
not up-and-coming
killing
because
it.
she's really up there already.
But she's doing like back-to-back
It's-
bangers.
It's just... She's just getting better
Right.
and better,
Yeah.
too, because I never thought she was like bad, but she's just getting like the roles that she keeps getting are like better and better and better and better. She's gonna be an actress to look at for a long time.
To look out. Yeah.
I agree.
For sure. I'm happy
too.
for her and I cannot wait to see
I
this
thought
film.
her character was really interesting too.
Yes, she had nothing with her life going on. Nothing to do.
Didn't, but I also felt really sad
Yeah.
for her because I feel like she just wanted to be liked.
Lonely.
Yeah,
She
she
was
was really
lonely, I
lonely and
think.
she just really wanted to be liked and she wanted to be friends with Amy and then she wanted Jordana's attention, and I don't know if it was like had anything to do with them eventually having a relationship, like, you know, romantically, or if it was just like platonic.
No.
You know, like I just need someone to see me.
I think it's the latter. I think she wanted purpose. You know, if you look at that incident where they were at the spa and
Right.
Jordan says something like, no, you know, she's going to join me in the board. And then later on toward the ending when they, you know, the breaking and entering scene happens, you know, where she says to Jordan, you were going to leave me
yes.
for her, you know, like, so I think she just wanted, I think it's the latter, like you said. It's just, she wants purpose. She wants to be liked. She wants to feel important. She wants to be a part of something because she wasn't a part of anything. Like, you know, quote unquote, I'm so busy, but she wasn't. She was a housewife who did nothing. You know, she wanted to have purpose. She was really
Which
thriving
then
on
I think,
that.
sorry, is so funny because then at the end, when the break-in happens and she runs to the panic room and she doesn't wait for Jordana.
Right.
So,
What a
like,
wuss.
that's what I think is so funny. It's like what you want,
That was
you
the
want to
Way
be
they
crazy.
start
I've
throwing
seen
up
it.
after.
you want to be seen and
Yeah.
you're lonely when it's convenient for you, but then in that type of situation you're ready to like abandon ship, like throw her to the
Right.
wolves.
That's what she didn't give a shit about Jordan.
She was like,
didn't give a shit about
I'm
her.
gonna save myself.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
damn, I was like mouth open. I was like, oh,
Me too. I was not expecting that at all.
Not
that whole
expecting
thing was
that at
so
all.
fucking
like,
violent, and
holy
I was like,
fuck.
how did this one's from
I
0
was
to
like-
100 real fast.
Literally,
It was so good
real
though.
fucking quick. I was like, what is gonna happen next?
It's because that's the thing, you know, shit is gonna go
Holy
down,
shit.
but you're not quite sure what.
Wait, so before they're held hostage, I'm like,
We're bouncing all over the place, but I love it.
I know, it's okay. I just wanted to like bring this up, that Amy and Danny, come to an agreement of like Danny's gonna take the fault. Amy was like, I'm gonna pay you this amount of money. Just say that it was you, period, because they're coming for him. And then she's like, actually, I don't need you to do this. And I'm not gonna fucking pay you. I would have been so fucking mad. Because she was offering what, 25 or 20?
25,000. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was offering a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And he was ready to, do his part of the deal. And suddenly she's like, oh, actually, I don't need you anymore. Bye.
Right. Naomi called.
It was because they had arrested...
And
they had pinned it on the cousin.
Isaac.
What's his name?
yes,
Isaac.
Yes.
So she was like, oh, okay. Well, I don't need you anymore. So deal's off the table.
But still. Well, no, actually, I think they had blamed it on the grandma. Something like that. Because Naomi said something like, oh, she told me everything.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna like press charges or something. And then she calls Danny and she says, I don't need you anymore, peace out. And then I think Danny just wants to get rid of his cousin because his cousin is creating like chaos in the church. So he's like, I need to get rid of him. How do I get rid of him? I'm gonna report the truck to the police that he owns.
Right.
Right. And then ends up just pretty much inheriting the business and the money. And that's how he's able to build the house, where we think, oh, he's doing good. And then
Which I think,
again.
leading back to what you were saying, Nikki, that for Amy, that was such a naive thing to think that she could back out of that offer and that Danny was going to let it slide.
Yeah.
Right.
Just like that. Like,
do you forget who you're fucking with?
Give him hush money.
You weren't offering $100. You were offering $25,000. Like, and you obviously know this guy needs it because he was ready to take the blame.
Right.
And now you're like, okay,
Ready
bye.
to take blame. He was
And you
ready
had
to get
like
arrested
that
for
deal that
this.
you closed was like $10 million. So it's like you had the money. $25,000 is a drop in the bucket for you. So like, just give him the money and say, listen, let's squash this. I'm sorry. I never want to hear from you again. Good luck in your life.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. You guys want to go? Did anybody get anxiety when this is also going back again?
The whole time I had anxiety.
Yeah. Like on the edge, I'm like, what's gonna happen? When Paul,
Right, my Prozac wasn't working.
when Paul goes to the store, when Paul goes to Amy's store looking for what's her name?
Kayla.
Oh, fuck.
With Kayla.
That's how he finds out.
And yes.
How he finds
you
out
were asking.
that she's
He
been
goes
catfishing
to
him.
the
I
store
was asking.
and it's just that whole scene. I was like, oh my god. Like I wanted to hide Kayla myself. Like I wanted to help her, and I was like, this lady is a bitch. Why do I care?
I know.
Right.
Well, I think it's because, okay, I wouldn't say that the average person would go to the lengths that they went to. Obviously, this is like an extreme. But there's good parts to people and there's, not so great parts. So, and we all have baggage and damage and trauma. They just handled it differently. So I think we can sympathize with them, even though they are terrible people.
Yeah, that's true. I agree.
Because they didn't start out that way, like
they didn't, and it's also a build up. And every episode, you're like, oh my god, they're fucking crazy. They're just getting crazier and crazier. Do you guys want to talk about the Vegas trip?
that gave me anxiety.
With Paul
Like when he
and-
was like,
The
"I'm
whole
coming
time.
to Vegas,"
That
and I
gave
was
me
like, "No
anxiety
shit."
too. You know, first of all, Amy gets this new hairdo, like a makeover.
Yeah,
The bitch
which
is blonde
was a wig,
now.
but
You know? It was? Well, you mean like in real life or in the show?
on the show.
Oh, I thought she actually
No,
dyed her hair
She
blonde.
didn't want to mess it up.
Oh,
so
fuck.
Ali Wong wore wigs, but I'm sorry.
Oh, no. But I'm saying in real life. But in the show, she
the
dyed
character Amy, yeah.
the character.
Yeah.
She shaved her head.
That's what
and
I
then
meant.
now
I
she's
knew it
wearing
was a
wigs.
wig. I knew it was a wig.
She pulled a Britney.
But
She was
for
like,
the sake
fuck
of the
this.
character, like she right?
Fuck everyone.
She dyes her hair. This deal's finally going through with Jordan, you know, and then Isaac shows up with Paul.
Oh my god.
Or with Danny, actually. Sorry, Isaac shows up with Danny looking for Paul, and he asks her that question in front of the crowd.
Well,
I mean,
also, like, what are the
anxiety
chances
again.
that they're
Where's
in,
the Prozac?
you know, that
You know?
hotel? Well, I mean, Paul's the
The
find my
chances
phone.
are Paul and
But
Amy.
yeah, I know that's
Right.
the thing. It's like that she's giving this conference in the hotel. That the door is open. Like, I feel like it should have been a closed door event.
Yeah.
But just like all these little
It's
breadcrumbs
such a build-up.
where it's
Yeah.
like, you gotta be kidding me. Of
Yeah.
course, like only to them that this would
Yeah.
happen, just to fuel
It's
fuel
like
that
serendipity.
fire. Literally.
Yeah, right. You know, and then they get chased down by the cops, and you're thinking, oh, fuck, you know, Isaac has a record. He can't get
How did Danny
arrested.
get out of that though? Because that definitely
Right.
should have been an assault charge.
Well, because I don't think Danny punches anybody.
He spit on him though, which I feel like that should have been a charge.
Maybe. Yeah.
Unless he like did go to jail and just paid bail and like didn't
I
have to
don't
do
know.
anything.
I think they just took the cousin because he had a prior record. Basically, you know, they were like,
Yeah.
"Fuck this." It also like, I just don't understand. Well, I get it, but it's like, okay, they're taking you out of the conference room, and you just keep getting upset and just more mad, and then you know, like, you start. I'm like, dude, calm the fuck down. Like, just chill. Be like, okay, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said. Just go, walk. You don't have to run. You don't have to punch anybody. But it's just everyone. It's having, you know, their beef because the cousin too. It's like, dude, like, chill. You don't have to punch anybody. You know, they're just escorting you out right now, and you guys came in to create trouble. You know, it wasn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's like a bad grudge that they
Can't get
just
rid
can't
of. Yeah.
let go.
And they just take it out on anybody.
You know?
Yeah.
And even like, you know, I know I'm jumping toward the end, but when they're in the desert, stuck in the desert, and they're chasing you. Well, before they get to the desert, they're chasing each other down. After the home invasion, I'm like, you guys are still at each other's throats. They get into that car accident. You know, I thought
They
for
were
sure that, you know, this
Well,
is
the theory
it. They're
is
gonna
that they
die.
did die, and
You
the
know?
rest was like a dream.
Oh.
Oh, is that a fun fact?
That is.
A little bit, yeah. No.
Are we
not
jumping
yet.
into fun facts? Wait, no fun
not
facts
yet,
yet. Not
no,
yet, not
but
yet.
you
I'm
know,
not
I
ready for
didn't
fun
even
facts.
think of that.
We're almost
I didn't
almost
think
there.
of that.
Because
I
there's no
love
way
fun
they could
facts.
too.
survive that.
But it's okay. And now I feel like I'm gonna keep jumping to that theory, but
Yeah,
let
sorry.
me backtrack a little bit. You know, my point was, I mentioned the grudge. You know, they're deserted in the desert. They have no water, no food. They don't know where the fuck they are. She's injured, right? And they're still going at it, you know, or they're like fighting, and then eventually they realize, well, you know what? We need each other's help in order to survive this and get each other's out of here. So eventually they kind of come to like a level of like, I guess, equal value.
Yeah.
Where they're like, you know what?
Yeah.
We're on the same page right now. We're on the same level. So why don't we just continue on this way until we can make it
And
out
also
of here?
the way that
know?
they get. Sorry.
No,
Trace,
go
I
ahead.
interrupted
No.
you.
Go ahead.
No, I think that last episode is so funny because, you know, the poison berries and
I just Google shit and pretend I know what I'm talking about.
yeah, and every line is so sharp and so
The
it's
acting was phenomenal.
like you have two people there that are suffering, but they're also like making you laugh at the same time, and
Well, I think
I don't know, it's so good.
Well, and it's beautiful too because they have this whole feud, this whole beef, this whole time, and then it's like finally at the very end they see
Finding
each
common
other.
ground.
Yes, and it's like I see you. Like we are so much alike. What do they say? Like
so
I'm
good.
I'm empty but
that.
solid. Is that what they say?
Yes, that's exactly
Right.
what they say.
So it's like they have this like void in each other, and it's they sort of fill it for one another. So
I love that
great.
episode. Like that whole episode was, I think it was like, for me, it was the closure that I needed. You know, like I needed for them to find some common ground, because this is going to sound drastic, but I was also like kind of suffering with them. You know, where I was like, dude, when are you guys going to stop? Stop. Like I was getting tired of it already. Enough. And I was like, oh, finally, you know, like you're realizing that you guys are, you know, have a lot of therapy to go through, but you do have some common ground. You guys are going through kind of the same issues, you know, well, not the same issues, but you know, you have both have a lot of issues that you need to work through. So in a way, you guys are kind of equal, you know, but it was like a good closure moment for me. I really enjoyed that episode. I enjoyed the direction of it, the writing, the acting was phenomenal.
There was,
I mean, it's like Nikki said, they're suffering, but they're making you laugh.
there was some talking about the therapy and how much I just remember that therapy scene, the couples therapy scene, that Amy was so freaking done with George that she was basically saying, and I don't know how this therapist did not like caught that. She was just saying everything he wanted to hear, and she just wanted him off her back at this point. And she's like, I'm just gonna smile, and I'm never gonna fucking bend, and I'm gonna live in this harmony that you want me to live. And it just also showed that she was sick and tired of her husband and his bratness and spoiledness. And then she was also like not willing to work on herself either. You know, she's like, you can tell me 100 million things, and I just wanna live in this bitterness right now.
Well, I think how
You wanted to say something.
Yeah, well, going off what you're saying, how she was in that therapy session, that's how she's been. I feel like
Her whole
life is just putting on this act of like, oh yeah, everything, like that fake ass smile that she had in the beginning. God. You know, we're like, oh sure, everything's fine. Like you could see when she would be like, fuck this, and then like turn around and like switch and be like, oh, everything's great. You know, so it's like she just puts on an act and tells people what she thinks that they want to hear to make them happy. But it's like with Danny and the whole situation, I think her true colors kind of came out. She said to George, I'm not a good person. Like I am a bad person.
Yeah.
So at least she recognized it. So
I want to talk about something specific. That one scene in the hotel where she has the guy fuck her. I felt like it was, to me, I was like, this is like a grinder hookup. Like a pump and gone.
Oh
like,
my
you know,
God!
Like,
What
was all that
Again, when
about?
she has the sheet over her,
Was she just her head? Like, was she just horny? Was there
she just
something
wanted
else
to feel
there?
something,
Was that-
probably.
right, and she said, oh, like it's your 20s, you're supposed to experiment, right?
Yeah.
So like I think maybe it was her way, of rebelling, or like you said, feeling something. I don't know.
I saw that scene and I was in disbelief. I was like, holy shit, she must be really desperate to feel something.
But then
do
her
something
face
to
was
that,
just so
you know?
blank, nothing going on. Maybe if anything, a little sad.
Right. Yeah. She was
Yeah, I
numb.
feel like she
Like,
wanted to
I'm empty
feel
but solid.
used, maybe, or I don't know. It was
Hey,
it
say
was
it with
really
me. Therapy.
therapy. It was
We all
really
need
really
it.
unusual. Because I definitely wasn't expecting, like you just mentioned it, and I think in my head I completely forgot about that scene. I blocked it out of my head because it was a little bit traumatizing, because I knew she was crazy, but I didn't know she would go that far.
Well, in that moment, they gave us a flashback to her childhood when she caught her father having an affair. And then when she confronted her mom about it, her mom was like, this is not something we talk about.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't ever
Which,
mention it.
because it's like the mom knew,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. It's like where she'd learned, you suppress your feelings and emotions, and eventually it bottles up and boom.
right. Yeah.
Eruption. Which is pretty much what happened here. But yeah, that scene was just really it just stuck with me. What else do we have to
and
talk
I wanted
about
to say
before-
one
'cause
more thing, because you were saying like you love the directing and the actors. I want to say the little girl, what an amazing actress.
She was so cute.
She was
So
so cute, but she
great.
was
She
so
was
like
so
on point
cute.
too, with all her lines and
Yeah.
right on time. No, I mean obviously
came to work.
she went to work. We got to give a lot of credit to the director, because I know maybe she was super talented, but sometimes it's a little bit harder for some kids to say it right on time. So the directing was amazing.
Bobby's taking a nap.
Yes.
I laughed so hard.
Yeah.
And I really liked a lot of the photography in the lighter moments, because you can see like when it was really dark and you feel like really a lot of anxiety in some scenes. It felt, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the scenes were darker visually. And then when you get to breathe, everything was lighter. The sun was out. They were outside. And I really liked how they did that.
Well, I guess it's because there's a lightness and a darkness to all of us. So I think that was just, and I'd have to go back and look at like what specifically was happening at those times, but maybe it played along with like the scenario and like what was going on.
When I don't know if you noticed, like sometimes she would be like painting the little girl and something, but when Danny came and like through one of the windows and was like, "Hey George," and George already knows who Danny is.
That was so creepy.
How he lied. It was so creepy, but everything looked a little bit more gray.
Okay, yeah.
When she was in her safe zone, when Amy was in her store in her safe zone, everything was like lighter,
right,
and pink. And even when she's at that house, Jordana's house, and she's outside on her catfish call, everything is like lighter visually.
That's true. Yeah, because it's like in that moment. What I liked about that though is I feel like in that moment she felt like she could be her authentic self with Paul, because it's like she kind of didn't give a shit, because she figured, oh, I'm catfishing this guy, so I can just tell him my real thoughts. It doesn't matter. But you could see sort of a lightness to her. Too, like and being able to talk about it.
In the basketball scene, which I thought it was hilarious when the worship leader was like, "Fucking fuck,"
Edwin. Which do you think? Do you think because of that scenario that sort of ousted him from being a worship leader?
Yes.
That was it, right?
I think so.
I think so too.
But that scene is like funny and lighter, and everything is bright.
Right.
The sun is out. They're playing outside. I think it's like a good way to give the viewer a breather, because the show gives you so much anxiety and it keeps you on the edge, and then you have these moments that I'm like, I can breathe and I can laugh right now before I dive right back into it.
A dramedy.
It's definitely a dramedy.
So good.
What do we give it? Thumbs up?
I give it
absolutely.
a thumbs
10
up.
out of 10.
Yeah, I give them
Thumbs up.
2 thumbs up.
10 out of 10.
all the
That
thumbs.
was so good.
It was really good.
Yeah.
My toes.
Yeah. Exactly.
So let's see. IMDb gives it an 8 out of 10, right? On IMDb, that's an 8 out of 10. And then if we look at Rotten Tomatoes,
I believe it's 96%,
look,
which
Is it?
98.
98.
Okay.
Ooh.
See, so
Wow.
yeah,
I mean,
We
that's
98%.
good.
We
Yeah.
agree.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like who gave it a negative review? I want to know.
We had beef. We
Hey,
have
you know
beef
what?
now.
Not everyone. We got beef.
I'm gonna go
but
tag their
it's okay,
car.
You know, not everyone
Tell
has to
them,
like
I'm
the same
poor.
things.
I'm a little
I respect
bitch.
it. I respect it. Right. I really want to hear about the fun facts, Tracey.
Oh,
Do
of
you have
course
fun
I
facts for
do.
us?
It is
this
fun facts time.
Fun
Yay.
facts. Fun facts.
We're
Whatever
gonna give you
is the
fun
song.
facts. Yep. Alrighty. So, did you know Ashley Park, who plays Naomi, and Justin Min, who plays Edwin, the worship leader, they are cousins in real life.
Oh my
Ah.
goodness.
Okay.
All right. And then the idea developed from the creator, Lee Sun-jin, with his own experience that he had with a road rage incident in LA. So what had happened was someone had pulled up next to him in a white SUV, and he was sitting at a light, and all of a sudden they started honking and screaming at him because the light had turned green. And they raced off, and Lee Sung-jin followed him across town.
Wow.
But he didn't do anything about it. And then he sort of stopped himself and was like, what the fuck am I doing? But
Like a normal person.
like a normal person, exactly. But I
Yeah.
think
Right.
then the idea sort of grew of like, what happened if a person didn't stop, if this escalated. So
Okay.
the titles of all 10 episodes are quotes that reference the episode's theme. However, there's one quote that encompasses the whole series, which is, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." So that's
shit.
Carl Jung.
What episode is that one?
So that's just like the whole series. That's what Lee Sung-jin,
Oh, that's
the
the-
creator,
okay,
like that's the
okay,
quote
okay.
that he took and was like, this encompasses the whole series. So like there's again the whole thing of like light and then like a darkness within us and just being aware. This I think is interesting. Production designer Grace Yeun spaced the wooden slats near Amy's staircase in her house to appear zen-like, but to also make the house feel like a cage.
Oh, well, that's true.
Yeah, every detail went into like.
Because that's like her. She's like, this is my home, but she's trapped in it because she doesn't like her husband at all.
Well, and I think she thought motherhood would make her feel fulfilled. And it's not that she doesn't
And
love
it
her
didn't.
daughter, but yeah, it's not fulfilling to her
It
either.
didn't, yeah.
Exactly.
And like the part outside where their daughter paints and stuff, that also looks like a cage.
Yeah, absolutely. So I thought that was
You
kind of
know?
cool.
Yeah, it does.
Wow, interesting.
Like when George is trying to run out with June, and he couldn't find a way
Yes.
out. You know, and then Danny's like peeking through the hole. Hey, you know, I
Yes.
see you.
All right. Lee Sun-jin originally had more characters die when he wrote the outline for Beef, but the studio network told him that maybe not everyone dies. But he won't disclose who he had in mind.
Wow.
So,
Damn,
I know,
that's
right?
Dark.
That's really dark.
He also had imagined originally that the role of Amy would be a man, and he specifically had in mind Stanley Tucci.
Oh,
My uncle.
Your uncle,
My uncle.
Tracey.
I love Stanley Tucci.
Stanley Tucci.
Oh man, I'm
Tooch.
like now I have to picture the whole show, like what the turnout would be. if it was
So
Stanley
interesting.
Tucci. It would be interesting for him because I don't think we've ever seen him play anything like that. You know,
He doesn't really play. Yeah,
he's
but not
done
like.
dark, in The Lovely Bones.
No,
but
that was
not
like
this.
creepy, but
That's crazy.
I have a couple more real quick.
I'm excited. Keep going.
So for the final scene on the last episode, Wong had actually pitched the idea to crawl into Danny's hospital bed. So that was her idea. And that episode was also Lee Sung-jin's directorial debut, which he had to shoot over Zoom because he was sick with COVID.
How the fuck?
Yeah.
And you know what? I love that she made that choice because it felt natural to me. Like I almost saw it coming. I don't know about you guys, but I was like, she's gonna go into bed with him. Like,
And I don't know if you noticed the last second when
his
he,
arm,
quote unquote, wakes up, his arm goes to her.
Right. I think perfect.
It's like I feel like they're bonded.
Yeah, because they're
they have
the
a
same
bond.
space. You know, they can be themselves with each other.
Right.
Like especially like even if it's just for that moment. All right. Well,
even if they don't end up being together, which I think they do, I was just like,
what a toxic relationship.
I know, it's rough.
Talk about couples therapy.
Yeah.
Therapy. More Prozac.
All right, last one. Coming up with the show's title wasn't easy. And an original idea was an eye for an eye. But I know, but Jin wanted to capture the aesthetic appeal of a punchy one-word title. Thank goodness.
He thinks exactly like us with the name of this podcast. We're like, we're so smart. And
we're so smart.
Aesthetic.
Lee Sung-jin, if you listen to this, you should hire us next. Hire us for your next
We came
show
up with our
or
name
movie,
right away.
limited series. Right. Lee Sung-jin. You should hire us. We have like minds. So.
Yeah. Wow, that's really, really interesting.
Well,
It's fun.
thank you for the fun
anytime.
facts, Tracy. You always have really good ones.
I love it. I wanted to hear more. There's probably no more.
I don't have any more, but I'm sure they
it's
do
okay.
exist.
Well, Tracy.
I know. I am. It's okay.
That was fun. Well, finally we got our first 10 out of 10 and all 3 thumbs up.
And my toast. That was like 6, 5.
That's how you know it's really good.
Well, we have not decided what our next
It's a
episode
surprise.
is going to be about. So that'll be a surprise for you listeners.
And it's going to
out
be a
there.
movie.
But don't
It's going to be a
forget-
movie. That's all we know.
Oh, it's going to be a movie. Yeah, that's all you know. It's going to be a movie. So in the meantime, subscribe, comment, like, judge with us, judge us.
Comment.
Be very nice. Comment. We
Rate
can't
us.
wait to hear about it.
All the good stuff.
Right. Well, that's all I have for today. You guys have anything?
No.
That's it. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Until
Until
later.
next time. Bye.
Bye. Bye.